Call to order the regular monthly meeting of the Board of Trustees for August 24th, 2017. First item on the agenda is the invocation and pledge of allegiance. I'll turn that over to Vice Chairman Bingham.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Tonight we have with us two students from Airport High School, Madison Dinkins, who's going to lead us in the invocation, and Travis Campbell, who's going to lead us with the Pledge of Allegiance. Madison's ranked 14th in the senior class at Airport with a 4.65 GPA. She's been a member of the varsity cheerleader squad since her freshman year and is a second-year captain. She's a member of the National Honor Society, the Beta Club, and the B-27 Club. She was a junior scholar recipient and junior marshal last year. Madison was selected Miss Freshman, Miss Sophomore, and Miss Junior at Airport. She founded the Birthday Box, a program that ensures that children living in shelters in our community receive a birthday gift. She received the Mungo Homes Community Builder Award in June and was just notified that she won the Best in Philanthropy Award by the Central Carolina Community Foundation. The awards of $1,000 each will be donated to the Birthday Box. Madison plans to attend the College of Charleston and then medical school. Travis is a senior at Airport High School where he participates in the early college program. He is ranked 8th in his class with a GPA of 4.866. Travis was a junior marshal at Airport's 2017 graduation. He attended Palmetto Boys State this past summer. He's a member of the National Honor Society and a member of the Airport Boys Golf Team. Travis is currently undecided about where he will attend college. However, he knows he would like to major in criminal justice or psychology. He would also like to play golf at the collegiate level. So I'll ask Madison to step to the podium and then followed by Travis.
Dear God, thank you for our dedicated teachers and staff, for their inspiration in our lives, for their knowledge and skills, for their commitment to our education. Please bless their work, lead them as they mentor and train us. May they excel in their own abilities and see the potential in every child. Please help all of us to respect each other, understand one another, and never fail to offer kindness and care. In the name of Jesus we pray, amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much, Travis and Madison.
Next item on the agenda is the consent agenda. And if there's no objection, the agenda will stand approved as submitted. Next, we have public participation period.
I received no request tonight, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Hinton. Next is reports on honors and accomplishments of students and staff. And I will turn that over to Superintendent Jennings.
Yes, ma'am, thank you. Our first recognition is two of our board members. As the board's aware, board members go through leadership team training, and for the South Carolina School Board Association, that's a priority that began in 1982. The Boardsmanship Institute offers year-round training for board members. It focuses on leadership skills for board members, state and national educational issues. Board members are recognized for up to 6 levels. That includes going through classes, attending seminars, and then at level 6 there is a written exam. So achieving that is quite an honor. We have 2 board members tonight that the School Board Association has recognized. Mr. Brad Giles has reached level 3. And Brad, we have from the School Board Association a certificate for level 3 and a pen that goes along with that. Thank you for your work. A lot of time to get there. Thank you for that. The other one is Mr. Kevin Key, level 1, and that takes a lot of time to get. Thank you, Kevin, for that. Additionally, I'd like to recognize somebody who has been here for a long while. King. Tommy, I know you're here, I saw him around with the grandbaby just a while ago. Tommy King came to, Tommy come up just, Tommy came to Lexington too in February 2004 as the Director of Transportation and Safety, and since that time he served as the Director of Maintenance, Operations, Capital Projects. Tommy's been kind of a utility infielder for Lexington too. There's not an awful lot that he hadn't done at some point in time in his career. And Tommy, I think we'd be well remiss if we didn't extend our appreciation to you for the amount of work that you've done. When I came here, I listened to Venus tell me about the fact that she'd called you when she actually got caught in a flood somewhere, and you'd actually done that. So in my time here, we've survived a tornado, a fire, a hurricane, and a flood, none before that I'd ever experienced in an educational career. But we appreciate what you've done for the district. We appreciate how you've done it for the district. I know you, like a lot of the rest of us, you got a lot of folks that you're looking out for and got some things going on, but we do hope the fish bite on a regular basis, because I do know that's an issue for you. I'd like to offer you this on behalf of the board, a certificate of appreciation for what you've done, and then from the cabinet members, just a little something to maybe put a bait or two in the box. So congratulations. Chair, our last recognition is an update from the National School Board Association and Ms. Brown.
Thank you. I wanted to thank all the board members. I threw this on them at the last minute. I just got back from a leadership conference in Chicago, meeting with leaders from all across the nation, and I just really got inspired and excited, and I wanted to bring that home to you, and I thought the opening of school was a great time for that, okay? So the first thing I want to show you, they're going to cue it up for me, and I'm going to tell you this is a new stand-up for public schools. You know, I brought you the red bracelets one time. This is kind of the next step on this. We're really pushing, you know, we always hear about vouchers and school choice and all of that from a private sector, but what we're not probably promoting well enough and we're going to start doing is that there's a lot of choice in public schools. Now, Bill Bingham's over there probably going to grin at me because he and I used to fight about this about 17 years ago. But the truth is we do offer choice in our district. You know, we have arts academies, we have day of programs, technology programs. The high schools have, one has you can graduate college for 2 years. When you graduate high school at Airport, BC has Quest and I2 Tech. We have a lot of choices in our schools. And we're about to open a new Kate Center, so I'm just super excited about all the choices that we're offering our students every single day in our district. And the first video they're going to show you is called No Ordinary Day. And I just thought it was really special and you appreciate it. So you'll cue that one.
Wait, what was the question again?
Should I move?
Can I think for just a sec? Okay.
Oh, every day is really, really different. Every day we learn something new. And every day sometimes make a new friend. Most amazing thing I've ever done at school?
The most exciting thing I've done? It's a really, really good question.
Oh, is read a chapter book. We get to dissect an owl pellet.
This was like a quadruple step equation because it had 2 double step equations.
You could see all the bones of that animal that another animal ate.
One day in gym class I hit a home run.
Yes, I did it!
I was jumping up and down just like I ate 1,000 Skittles.
It's a bird of prey. And who doesn't like a bird of prey?
That would be today. Today would be the surprisingest thing I've ever done.
Your school I've been able to test out hundreds of different activities and interests.
Geology, robotics,
World literature,
art and Spanish,
language magnetism, electricity, circuits.
Martin Luther King Jr.
Multiplication and division,
PE and music.
Kinematics, Newtonian dynamics.
Bunnies, cheetahs, and monsters.
What I love about teaching
Is when students take concepts or skills that I've taught them and they apply it in ways that I would have never even considered.
they finally get it and they say, oh yes, Mr. Byrne, I got this down.
This is my only chance to make 5th grade excellent for these kids.
When one student comes in and says, I can't, it's our job to prove that they can.
I'm going to make it the best 5th grade experience they can have.
Different, ideas and viewpoints and cultures and beliefs, and it's just one big melting pot in your classroom.
I think something extraordinary happens every day in public schools just by its mere existence.
There is absolutely no ordinary day in school.
I want to be a doctor, or maybe a librarian, a scientist, teach.
Nurse practitioner, dietitian.
I want to be a lawyer.
Research within physics.
I want to discover things under the sea.
And then I also might start a company.
but most of all, I want to go to college.
I definitely think that this is a place where dreams are nurtured and created.
School lets us become creative, lets us form our own bonds, lets us be truly us. The challenges, the cooperations, the teamwork, really is the foundation to everything anybody wants to do.
There's always something to look forward to, something special going on.
It makes you a better person. You can adapt to the situation, try new things, expand your comfort zone, and do the things you never otherwise imagined doing. Every day, my education makes a difference in my life.
Tears are allowed, but I wanted to share that because I'm so, and I know everybody sitting up here is so appreciative of our teachers, our principals, all of our staff, and that's what you do every day for our kids in Lexington too. You make every day not an ordinary day, and you make them all know that they can succeed, so I appreciate that. Now, the second video is for the 6 of you. We kind of laugh and fight and have a lot of fun in here sometimes, and sometimes not so much fun. We all know that there's a lot of difficulty and there's a lot of joy in being a school board member. We get no pay, we get a lot of complaints and a lot of abuse, but I can tell you this, I've served with everyone up here for at least 2 years, some for 17. There's not a person up here serving for you out there who doesn't truly believe in you, believe in the job you do, and love everything you do. So the next thing I wanted to play for you was about why we do what we do. That's not it. There were 2 links in the video, so one was us walking across the stage. I'm not trying to show you walking across the stage. Well, then again, maybe you were that good. And board members, you're allowed to cry the next one too. I think I sent it to Dennett, and it was a link from Tom Gensel. Yeah. Yep, that's it. See where it says, yeah, not the click here resources. Yeah, this is it.
Because we are committed to the children of this country. And we believe that every single child should have the opportunity to reach their potential. We understand that education is the foundation of our democracy, and that an educated public is an informed public. It is my dream that we as a society will recognize the transformative power of great public education. schools can be the great equalizer. Regardless of poverty, ethnicity, or situation in life, an effective teacher and supportive school can open up the world for all students. Honestly, it's the best, hardest, most rewarding, most emotional, most frustrating, and the most inspiring job anyone could ever do. We're producing incredible engineers, IT techs, authors, doctors, and more. We have waiting lists for students from other countries to come to America just so they can experience a solid American education. My sincere hope is that public education will be viewed and supported as an investment in our children's future and our country's future. The knowledge that my decisions play an important role in the future of many children is what motivates me. And I'm humbled to be able to play a small role in helping them succeed in school and beyond. We do this job to see our students grow, succeed, and overcome. To see the smiles on our seniors' faces as they walk across the stage to be handed their diploma. We show up for our students because education is foundational to solving the world's issues. Because strong public schools transform lives.
So that was my gift to you. And those were quotes from actual school board members around the country about what we will do. Thank you.
Thank you, Beth. Next item on the agenda is unfinished business, and we have no unfinished business, so we'll move on to new business. First item is consideration of a possible lunch release program for high school seniors, and I'll turn that over to Dr. James and students from Airport and Brooklyn Casey High School.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Beth, that was a great segue because I had two not so ordinary days in meeting the young people that I'm going to introduce to you. I've got the student body president from both high schools, and I think they have their vice president and maybe some other student body officers with them. But a week or so ago, Owen Cease, and I'm going to bring them up in just a second. Owen Cease called over and made an appointment. Owen is the student body president at Brooklyn Casey High School, and I had met Owen just a little before because he was on a panel of students that spoke to administrators and gave some very insightful feedback to our administration. But anyway, Owen called over to make an appointment, and he wanted to come over and talk about an idea that he had that I actually felt like was a really good idea. But I felt like it was a really one-sided idea. So Jim Hinton and I sat and we talked with Owen and a group of kids there from BC, and our stipulation was go talk to your counterparts at the other high school, because if we do something unique, we want to do something Lexington too. If it's good for one side of the district, it's good for the other side of the district. And about 2 days later, I got to meet some more young people on another not so ordinary day, and I realized that they're who I need to be talking to, because they did more to pull this district together in about 2 days than 90% of the adults that I've talked to in 2 years. But I don't want to steal their thunder. They've got a great presentation, a good use of technology. I will give you an overview. They've come up with an idea that I think is a really good reward system for seniors who do the right thing. But I'll let the student body's presidents tell you about that. Owen Cease is the student body president for Casey High School. Chris Staley is the student body president from Airport High School, and I think you guys have some other folks with you. Come to the podium, introduce yourself, tell the board your idea. You can sell them like you did Mr. Hinton and I, you'll probably come out of here happy.
Yes, sir. Most of all, thank you, Dr. James, for introducing us, and it's a pleasure and an honor for us to speak in front of you today. Like you said, I'm Owen Cease, the student body president of Casey High School. And this is Anya Kosum. She is my vice president, and then Chris Staley from Airport, who's student body president. And here's our presentation. There's the. Thank you. So basically, what we're proposing to y'all is to have a senior off-campus lunch. And some of the things that we have, Dr. James gave us a challenge, and the challenge was to bring Airport and BC together. Just like y'all know, tomorrow night is the big night. It's the Airport BC football game. And one thing that really hit me what he said was, we're together from Thursday, or no, he said from Saturday to Thursday, and Friday night we're against each other. And that really took heart to me because I was like, all right, so that's a challenge. So right after I got done with Dr. James, I went right over to Mr. Morgan. I got the assistant principal of Airport's number, and we actually met with the Airport Student Council that next day, and we made a presentation. So anything can happen. I mean, BC Airport were together, let's do. So one of the things that we think reasons why is it builds trust and responsibility between students and schools. And some of the things that we've been thinking of is if we, the school district, give seniors a chance to have a reward system, have a chance to go off campus to show their responsibility that we're supposed to be, our job, or the school's job is to, grow them to be a young adult. And if we give them responsibility to do that, give them a chance, it gives conflict, small conflict, to go away. Small little stuff that they say, okay, I trust them, and that's all. And Arnie's going to talk about a little more about that.
Hi, I think it's a good proposal that we have because it opens up a level of maturity. It gives seniors a privilege, and it allows all seniors, if they do well with their grade point average, and if they do well so far as attendance, it gives seniors the opportunity to be mature and prepare for college or military or workforce, whatever they may do. But it does allow maturity. That's my biggest reason why.
It gives students motivation to work harder academically, because in the next couple of slides we'll talk about the requirements that you have to get this privilege. It gives upperclassmen and seniors a privilege, something to look forward to. Because I know a couple of years ago when we had it, my sister would talk about it, and I'd be like, oh, I cannot wait until I'm a senior. I mean, that's something I look forward to. Yes, your cafeteria food's awesome, but it's something like Wendy's burger, a Wendy's burger, or Zach's. I mean, that's something that student is a good amount to look forward to. Also, it helps support the local economy and builds positive relationships with communities. The Taste of Casey is one of BC's. We have restaurants all over KC and West Columbia come together, and we just it's a big promotion for them. And Airport, I think they do the charity drive, and they have all these. I mean, if we have 200 students going out to these businesses, this is going to help them. Or even though we're students, we can be a little rowdy. I mean, that's high school for you. But this can help benefit our community that we're in, and that's our goal. Because it's not just about our schools and stuff for our own kids, but we need our community. Our community backs us up, and that is our goal, to bring the community together. And next slide. All right, I'm going to have Chris talk about our plan for us to y'all.
Okay, so we want the seniors to be able to leave off the campus on every Friday, and there will be a senior bell that releases them, and they'll return by the start of their block, barring any tardies or anything like that. And they will have a separate Lex 2 ID, where they will be identified by any teachers or staff out there in the parking lot.
Basically, to go on to what he was saying, Dr. James was talking about, we were trying to figure out a way where kids can't forge it, or kids can't, I remember a couple years ago they had stickers. And I was like, all right, I can't do that, because if you can give us that responsibility, I need to find something that students, because students can find stuff, trust me, we're students. But Dr. James gave a good idea of making a separate ID. I think that's an awesome idea, because it's a Lex 2 ID. So it's not just an Airport ID, it's not just a BC ID, it's a Lex 2. So that's our goal, is to build the schools together. And I knew he was about to talk about some of the consequences we put up.
There'll be 2 tardies per semester, so if a student decides that they just don't want to show up or they're always consistently late to class, we'll take it from them for that semester. And then also, there's no Category 1 offenses, so if there's a student who's constantly getting in trouble, getting an ISS, getting D notes, or discipline areas, they just can't have that pass because it makes everyone look bad and it's just not good.
To go on some of this, what our thing is that we want students to have a strict system. Because if you have a strict system, they're going to be afraid of consequences, so they're going to follow the rules. So we're thinking 2 tardies, you have 2 freebies, because people make mistakes, they need chances. Well, the 3rd one, you lose it for the semester. And we will have an Excel sent out to all teachers for them knowing what students have the proper papers submitted, and they'll know if they're allowed to or if they have any tardies or mark tardies, and then we'll even write lost ability for that semester. So teachers will know if, okay, so a student flashed ID still and they still have it, they'll know, okay, you can't go off campus. The big thing that we all talk about is the legal standpoint. And this is a big thing, because anything can happen off campus, and that's what we're worried about most. So we are proposing for the district, Mr. Hinton was already saying, a written waiver with a parent's signature stating that the parents are giving their student permission to go off campus and that the school is not responsible for the student's action. The parents must have a signature notarized, therefore we do not run into any problems with students forging signatures. Now I actually talked to Ms. Beth about just the legal standpoint so we can have everything proposed, no questions asked, we can have all the answers. And one thing is the notary. And I came into, someone said that we have notaries at all our schools, or I know at BC and airport. So parents have a way to get it notarized if they do not have one at their home or their job. So that runs away, so parents have to know about it. So no kid can forge their signature, because kids find a way to forge their signature. We can get around that, and we can have them notarized, and we can have a legal standpoint. The students must have a driver's license to go off campus. Now what that means is, it can be any driver's license where you can be able to drive behind the wheel. That doesn't mean it's a permit where you have to have a parent. You have to be able to drive. So that means even if you don't have a car or transport to get to school, you can ride with someone, but they have to be able to drive. So that takes away something happens where they're not able to drive. You will be able to drive behind the wheel. That takes away the risk of, say, one day a senior wanted to take a junior. No, you can't have that. Because we'll have the IDs check, we'll have the Excel check, you can't get out, and we'll have the notary. And also, another thing that we have set up is a GPA. Once we get this clear and everything, we're going to figure out the GPA with the high schools, but we're going to have a certain GPA to match, and discipline will be a factor. Because even though, yes, eating out would be awesome, but academics come first. Because that's y'all's job. Y'all's job is to prepare us for college. And these are actually some schools that we found out that actually do off-campus lunches. We have T.O. Hanna, which is in Anderson, South Carolina. We have Rock Hill High School, which is Rock Hill. Wade Hampton, Hammond, Richard Wynn Academy, which is a small private school. Ringgold, and Blackfoot High School. Help Lexington student body brothers and family. Choose off-campus lunch. Thank you for your time. And if you have any questions, please ask. We're definitely ready.
What I would tell the board is, in this presentation, there's not been one school administrator that had any input into what the requirements were or the punishment for losing this privilege. Of course, you can tell after listening to Owen. I would tell you that. Sometimes there's the truth and there's the whole truth and then there's nothing but the truth. Owen's going to talk long enough that you're going to get nothing but the truth. He's going to tell you every trick that they've got to figure out forgery or whatever else. But these young people came up with the plan, the consequences, the logistics, all of that on their own. They spent a lot of time working together. I know the board has got some questions for them. But out of everything else that goes on, and particularly in conjunction with what Ms. Brown has shown, that right there is what we do, and that's why we do it.
I'd like to ask a question if I might. Yes, sir. I know you threw in academics. possible to maybe consider that your behavioral problems or your behavioral situation might take care of it and allow maybe all seniors to be involved in this. I know you put a lot of work into it, but I would just like to see if we can consider maybe all seniors and let the behavioral part guide you in your policies and procedures for this. I think it's a wonderful idea, but I too think that it might help those children to be more accepted, and perhaps we'll see a changed child in the classroom if we also allow them this privilege and make behavioral the criteria for them losing it rather than academic.
We could definitely do that, and I really do think that if we give seniors there's a chance saying, okay, not academically, but behaviorally, we have to meet the standards. I really think, but definitely they still have to qualify with ID. They have to have IDs definitely to get off.
I agree with you more.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. I think that's really good.
Thank you.
Any more questions?
I do. I think it's a great idea. I love getting the two schools together, working together, coming together as one. I'd also like to, I know we got to look into, I know y'all saying just students with license. We got a lot of good students in our schools that can't drive, can't afford a car. But I would love to see the way we could tag on them to them get rewarded too. Not sort of feel alienated. I'd like for, like Kay said, all the seniors, whether they have a driver's license or anything, to be able to.
Actually, me and the student council were meeting, and we were trying to figure out a way to, not just the seniors, give our schools something they can look forward to. And we were thinking about seeing any way possible we can pull in other vendors, Chick-fil-A or something to bring in for people who can't drive. Or
the issue may be Owen that and there's a way to do, Mr. Key, I think if I'm hearing you correctly, that there are some folks that may not be able to drive, but we can draw this up with a ride and driving privilege, kind of like they're planning for the Cake Center. So what I'm hearing the board say is behavior and responsibility are two of the characteristics that they want to promote most with you all, and use this maybe as an encouragement for grades and use this as an acceptance for kids who maybe physically can't drive or some other issues that go along with that. So I think you can work within what Mr. Key's talking about.
I definitely think we can work with that. I mean, y'all make decisions. I mean, we're just here proposing. We're proposing an idea, and whatever y'all offer, we are definitely going to do whatever y'all ask. Any more questions? Yes, Mr. Jones.
Just to talk about what Mr. Key talked about, I'm an insurance agent, so I can speak to the young driver part of it. There's a lot of kids that are not going to have their license because their parents will not allow them to have it. Because if they get a license, they have to be put on our grants policy, and that makes the policy go way up. So I absolutely agree that I love the idea and the concept, but the reality is you have a bunch of kids that will be excluded because of that. So I think Kay's suggestion is fantastic. It really needs to be behavioral based. So that's a great job.
And I really do think that can be possible because BC, as you know, we are near a lot of food places, and they're short distance. And I feel like if we can get this set up where we can find ways where we can have carpools and stuff like that to get students who cannot have the ability to drive, I feel like we can really do that. And even the airport can do that because I know they have a system where you're on a honor roll. If Chris wants to talk about it, they have a little honor roll where seniors or people in grade can have a longer lunch. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, so we actually have this thing called E-Block, and it's for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. It's for academic requirements that must be met. So you have an hour, and if you don't, you only have a 30-minute lunch. And on Fridays, it's a behavioral thing that was on this case that, so that seems to be able to, if they meet the behavioral criteria, be able to leave. It has that hour to go to any restaurant or anything in there.
And it's beneficial to them because they don't have as many food places as BC does near them, so they have time to actually be able to travel to different restaurants or food places that they'd like to go to.
And we only have a 30-minute lunch. So what that would do, that would limit the crowds at our places. So we wouldn't have people complaining, or hopefully, you never know, students are crowded, but we would have the biggest crowds zoning in. Because I can go and tell you this, I will not be traveling to Chick-fil-A from BC. Because I'm not going to be speeding, I'm not going to take that chance. So airport can have Chick-fil-A. but we'll have lunch.
One thing that I guess would ask that we look at how you might incorporate would be sort of a student policing their own self with regard to underclassmen trying to abuse the privilege. Because if that were to become a problem,
We'd have to take it away, yes, sir. We talked about that.
And so what we would think is that if you see underclassmen, you go report them and say, these guys aren't allowed because they could affect losing my privilege because I've allowed them to do it.
I definitely agree with that. And if we get this opportunity, I know Chris will definitely, and when we have our meeting with seniors, we'll definitely be honing in on that. I mean, like, this is a privilege. They gave us the opportunity to show responsibility. So let's not lose it. Let's police ourselves. And I do totally agree with that. Because I do not want our teachers who are working hard to gain our education to teach us that, to have to worry about us. I think that as seniors, we need to show responsibility. And I definitely agree we incorporate that. I can get student council on that and stuff definitely like that.
One suggestion I would have for you that you may think about is that could be a precursor for underclassmen gaining that privilege when they become seniors. Because if as juniors they get caught,
then they lose the
then
privilege.
they may lose the privilege as a senior.
See, that's, I was actually talking to student council members and we were like, all right guys, this is a big opportunity for seniors, and obviously we set the stone for the next couple of years. Because if we mess up, Dr. James even talked about it, no more, we're not gonna have it. So this is the year where we have to set stone that we can be responsible, we can show that we can't do this. And I really do think our schools can. Because we came together quick and we made this presentation, I think our schools can definitely do it.
And I think that you can, by setting that example and building that foundation correctly, then yes, it's something that will carry on generation to generation and class to class as it moves up. They understand the responsibility of it.
And it's something that is the underclassmen so we'll look forward to and strive to go. So yes, sir. We'll definitely take that into consideration and work on that.
Okay, any more questions? Wonderful presentation, and let's see if we can give you this opportunity. I'll entertain a motion.
Madam Chair, I'll make a motion that we approve the senior release program with the adjustments that we're removing the GPA requirements and adjustments to the driver's license requirement.
Have a motion, to have a second. Second by Kay Kessler. All in favor say aye. 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 Motion carries.
Thank you very much. We'll definitely take all your consideration.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Next on the agenda is contract price for Airport High School baseball press box and ABA issues. And I'll turn that over to Mr. Eisenhower.
Madam Chair, members of the board, Dr. James, we have with us tonight Glenn Dillon with Contract Construction, who's going to be covering for Wood Carey, who unfortunately had some unforeseen circumstances and could not attend the meeting tonight. So he called Glenn, I think around 1 or 2 o'clock and 3 or 4 o'clock. And so Glenn has put together this packet for you. And he's going to do his best to explain what's in this package. And he's going to present to us some contract prices. I think he's going to have 3 options.
We can share.
I got Don, make sure I printed 20.
That's all right.
Don is also asking me not to talk too long. I'm going to do the best I can.
While he's getting ready, I just remind you that what we did was we set aside $400,000 in the CPI budget for this project. Unfortunately, or fortunately, I guess, this project has grown because we had an Office of Civil Rights complaint with regard to ADA accessibility to restrooms and ADA accessibility to the baseball field at Airport High School. So the $400,000 project, unfortunately, what he's going to be presenting to you tonight is going to be a bust on what we had hoped to accomplish with the budget. But I want you to know that we still are working on this. In fact, none of this has been sent to the Office of School Facilities at this point in time, so it's going to be a work in progress. Lambert didn't want to send it and go through the OSF presentation or anything like that until the board was on board with what they were looking to do. So it was our hope to get this done this summer, but as I say, it has grown tremendously, and we've had to go back and revise several times what we were presenting to you. So what started out as a single level press box has now grown to ADA parking that will serve both the baseball and tennis complex as well as the visitor side of the football stadium. It has also grown to ADA accessible restrooms, walkways, and just yesterday we got notice that we're going to probably have to put in fire truck access. To what extent, we're not sure yet, so we're going to try to handle that with an allowance. So with all of that in mind, I'll let Glenn make the presentation and then we'll answer what questions you might have.
I've tried to make the packets that are pretty self-explanatory, so if I miss anything or you have a question about anything, let me know when I do this. We'll just try and go through this pretty quick. We're looking at exactly what's going to be on the screen. So the project was to do a press box over at the baseball stadium. Basically, working in three areas. We're working in the area around the baseball field, between the baseball field and the concession stand, to build a new press box, to relocate the bleachers to the left and right side to make room for those things, and also to create ADA areas where you can walk through there and get back to the parking spaces we're going to create. That's one area. The other area is where the ADA parking is going to be, the top part of the screen. We're creating some spaces there as well as access to the fields and the athletic facilities. The area Don was talking about where we potentially have to put in a fire truck access line is in the red area. That will be between the Eagles Nest and the tennis courts. This is what the new layout looks like. Basically, your press box is in the middle, relocated bleachers on either side. The gray you see through there is part of the existing sidewalk as well as 4,200 square feet of new sidewalk. Lower part of the press box is, like Don said, it's got ADA restrooms on either side. You've got about 100 square feet of storage in the middle area. That's block and brick construction. The second floor space is all press box. It's an open area with windows in the front. We're exploring some, like I said, Don, it's a living document. We're still exploring some BE for some of these things in some of these spaces. This is basically what you've got now. On the left-hand side of the existing bleachers and sidewalk, you've got 1,100 square feet of existing sidewalk. The bleachers actually sit on grass for the most part at the back of it. And what we're proposing to do is relocate those bleachers left and right, the press box dead center of home plate, and put in enough paving that covers where the bleachers are actually sitting on concrete. That way you can blow them off while we're watching. The one that you see with the partial green on white, that's actually existing sidewalk, so it's actually on concrete also. Did want to point out these spaces, the lower left and right, that's the ADA seating as well as some companion seating that's being created in this. We've also picked up, you might see the blue over by the tennis courts, right here. That area is where we've created some ADA companion and seating on either side of the bleachers over there at the tennis courts. One of the things Don talked about, I won't spend a lot of time on, is the storm drainage and infrastructure we put in. We've got some additional inlets, new piping, and some drain fields. We understood there was some problems over there. Trying to take care of that. The new parking spaces are exactly in the existing parking area. We created the sidewalk down, ramps down. The grading has to be modified, and we put in some modifications to the storm drainage over that area.
And that's 5 spaces.
5 spaces, yes. This is the potential fire truck access road. 20 feet wide, starts out at the paved area, and comes in just past the tennis court. There's some regulations we have to deal with on that as far as its length and the accessibility from the end of it to the new press box. We're working through those. Right now I've got an allowance in there for this at $60,000. And that's all I've got. This is the rendering from the third baseline looking back at the press box. Now, cost of press box. as it stands right now with the infrastructure, just the press box infrastructure, is $458,466. The cost for the 5 ADA spaces, the grading, raising the grading, putting in the storm drainage, adding the ramps and accessibility to the edge of the Eagles Nest, because we had that other sidewalk was in the Eagles Nest package, is $55,855. And as I've said before, the fire truck access, we're paying a $60,000 allowance at this time until we get more information. Now, I'll try to answer any questions you may have or concerns that I might be able to. Yes, ma'am.
Now, we are still going to try to work with OSF on that fire truck access requirement, I would assume, because it's not an area that you use that frequently, that I would think you would need to get fire trucks in there for a press box and a bathroom area. But, I mean, again, we can't tell them.
No, there is a regulation. I think Don is going to be working with the fire marshal. We're talking to the fire marshal to see what the exact requirement will be for that.
We actually tried to meet, Mr. Kugler and I tried to meet with Fire Marshal Mueller today, but his schedule would not allow that. We wanted to meet with the local fire marshal first and see if we might be able to propose some alternates. For instance, a fire hydrant would be much cheaper than doing the $60,000 paved or concrete truck access.
If we can bring a hydrant to there, significantly cut that.
So we're looking at some options, and actually what he showed you was an option that we're proposing, rather than turning that corner at the tennis courts, because when you turn that corner at the tennis courts, there's huge light poles that's there. It's got a bank of lights on it that we could be undermining tremendously. So we would get into a retaining wall and considerably more cost if we have to turn that corner. And from what we understand, the code requires us to be within 150 feet of the press box, and we're right at it without turning that corner. So we're hoping, again, best case scenario is probably what we proposed. It could be worse.
It scales out 150 feet from the tip of the drive all the way to the press box on the other side. So we're within the limits we've understood so far from our tide and Clay County. Other questions?
Any other questions? So my question is, what exactly kind of motion are you asking to be entertained? Just that they can proceed forward with taking this design to OSF, or are we approving this price, or what exactly are you asking for?
We would like to, and I just calculated these, I bet Mr. Dayton did too, but my calculation is $574,321. What we're asking, that includes some allowance or contingency in there. You got
5% contingency on the press box and on the parking area, the parking area.
So we probably have around $30,000 roughly in
Yes.
contingency in this, which we may or may not have to spend. And again, 60,000 of it, you know, that's a hit or miss. What we're hoping to do is to run in within $574,321 or less. But I hate to tie our hands with a not to exceed. But in order for us to turn this thing loose, we will need approval to go ahead. And right now, I think that's kind of more of a budget number than anything else. We'll have to go through the OSF process, which may, hopefully by the next month, we can give you a concrete number. But from a budgetary standpoint, we think this is real close to a contract price. But there are still some unknowns, and I just hate to throw a number at you, and we'll get into the project, we'll get held up because we didn't ask for enough money, or something else is thrown at us that we can't resolve without your vote.
I think, Ms. Brown, the answer to your question is we're looking for go ahead to proceed going through OSF, coming up with a hard final number, knowing that hopefully this number that Don's pulled together is a worst case scenario, but we do need some sort of board approval to do the Office of School Facilities and finish up the number to get you a firm number next month. So
will not to exceed here?
That will help, yes, sir, because hopefully we're going to come back next month with a lower number.
That is the goal.
Yes, sir.
But the only thing, I caution you, the only thing that could really kick us here would be if we have to make that turn into tennis courts. It's going to get considerably more costly if that has to take place. Because at that point, we've got to do some sort of turnaround for that truck. And if you are familiar with the area, there's not a whole lot of turnaround space, which means we're going to probably have to go out onto that field where they do shot put and all of that. So it could get expensive.
And I guess my question is, I'm not trying to get hung up on the fire truck access, because I love fire trucks, but I'm for the ADA parking, all of that stuff. Yeah, I'm ready to go on that. I'm not ready to go on this, because I don't understand why all of a sudden there would now be a new requirement when we're really, the press box that we're not doing anything to the one area. We're not changing anything to make additional cooking capabilities or anything to one area that have anything to do with fire.
No.
I don't think the press box has anything really to do with fire other than the wiring to get it out or whatever, but clearly there's only going to be people even in the press box for, what, February through May?
Okay, I will say this, common sense is not that common. And I will tell you that there are certain, and Kevin can tell you this, anybody that's in construction can tell you this, fire marshals, inspectors, they're all concerned about safety statewide. And there's not much leniency in some of this. And we're just hoping to appeal to common sense and say, you know, we're going to get you within 155 feet of this building, and we're hoping that that will be enough. We're willing to put in a fire hydrant, which we can cover with that contingency, we think. So we really have no choice. We've got to do the ADA compliant, because we got Office of Civil Rights coming probably in the spring to see what we've done with this. So we really don't have a choice about the ADA, and I don't know that we're going to have a choice about whatever they tell us we're going to do on the fire truck. We're going to appeal to them and do the best that we can, but in the end, we're not that decision maker.
Well, is it because we're doing any construction at all that we opened up the door to the fire truck lane people?
That's what I understand. And right now, we're figuring a 6-inch concrete slab on 4-inch gravel and taking out what's under there right now. But I mean, there are alternative surfaces that can be used too that meet fire truck qualifications. So we can explore those too. But we just kind of have to shut it down.
We just need you to turn source and let us go, because we need to get this project started.
Mr. Bennett?
Madam Chair, I make the motion that we approve the Airport High School baseball press box and the ADA access and the other ADA style sidewalks and the fire truck access with a contract price that won't exceed $574,321. And then the administration can advise us next month once it's gone through OSF. If there are any changes that would be required.
Second that. Have a motion, have a second. Any more discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you for your time.
Madam Chair, we also have with us tonight Mr. Todd. Actually, we're going to be talking about the date for dedication of Casey. So I'll let you handle that.
Okay. Next is consideration of a day for Casey Elementary School dedication. Any suggestions?
Could you give us an idea of the month? Will it be October?
We're thinking from the administrative standpoint, we've got somewhere maybe October-ish when the weather starts to break just a little bit. It's a little warm to be out there right now.
I think that's good. Also, it'd be nice for it to be a little bit more needed on the exterior.
Yeah, we'd like to get the grass all sodded in.
Playground ready.
We held off on planting trees until we fix that.
Are we looking maybe towards the end of October?
Yes, ma'am, we should be moving.
We'll find the October date, appropriate with the staff and.
Just send it out. We'll do that. Just come up with one now, so we'll send it out. See how it goes. Okay.
We need to make sure we invite all of the municipalities. Casey, we need to make sure the chamber is invited, ribbon cutting. This is going to be a nice event, since it is, one of the nicest schools I think we've had, so we want to make sure that it's going to be positive for us with that.
It's the nicest in the state.
Southeast. Thank you both. All right, next we're going to move on to consideration of school name, colors, and mascot for the new elementary school on Cooter Drive.
Actually, we've got the Brooklyn Casey Arena.
Oh, I'm sorry, did I miss it?
Yeah, Mr. Todd says.
I'm sorry, Todd, excuse me, I jumped over it.
And I don't think Jenny could be here because she took a well-deserved vacation. You got anybody with you from Thompson Turner, or you just gonna carry the load?
Carry the load.
All right. Mr. Todd says.
Thank you, Mr. Eisenhower, Madam Chair, members of the board, Dr. James. Thank you for the opportunity to give you an update on Brooklyn KC High School arena tonight. So we've been working diligently over the last several months, and just want to kind of give you some updated images of the progress that we're making. We anticipate having the early site package out sometime in the fall, and the bid documents, pending your approval tonight, will be completed prior to the end of the year. So you'll be able to receive bids prior to the end of the year and start the vertical construction around the first of the year. And with the schedule of completing it by the following year, playing the region basketball schedule, and spring sports could utilize the facility as well. So just to kind of refresh your memory, Knox Abbott Drive runs up and down the sheet here. The existing football stadium is located here, the cafeteria, BC High cafeteria, and the existing gym is located here. We're going to create a pedestrian and student pathway over to the new arena. We'll add additional parking spaces along that Motel 6 piece of property, as well as kind of redeveloping the parking area behind the stadium. So there's a significant amount of parking spaces that we'll be adding. The arena will seat 1,500 people to view games. It'll be a full-size 94-foot basketball court. We'll have volleyball courts lined out as well. There'll be cross courts, so practice for various different teams at one time. And then the two end goals will be the arena-style movable basketball backboards. Have a really nice lobby space that I'll show you a rendering of it, but you'll be able to display trophies from throughout the history of BC, and certainly the ones that they're doing now. And also the opportunity to recognize some of the Hall of Fame members. We've got a lot of display cases within this main lobby and circulation space. Have a large concession area off of the main lobby, toilets as required for the 1,500 seats. So we have male and female. Code requires that we have additional female toilets, so we've located those off of the sort of the side corridor as well. Have a weight room, approximately a little over 3,500 square feet, and that's located in this area. Close proximity and connectivity over to the existing PE facilities, existing gym, as well as the football and soccer stadium. We have locker rooms for the girls and the boys, not shared. Toilets can back up to each other, all right? So they share a wall to run the piping in. But male and female locker rooms, and then we have girls and boys visiting locker rooms. Have large storage spaces around the arena, and then we also will have a taping area so that kids can get taped up prior to various different athletic events.
Is that a full training room?
So not a full training room, but you know, ice, taping tables, and but not a full-blown. The full-blown training room will still remain in the existing behind the existing gym. We want to make sure that you know, the architectural character of the building kind of ties in with the stadium wall and south wing. So again, we were introducing some precast archway panels along with the brick, but a very substantial and handsome structure. On the existing school side, so the pedestrian and student access from the from the existing gym, from the existing cafeteria, this will be the lobby space. You know, we want to get some school spirit on the building that's very innovative. And then we're going to design this facility so it truly is end around, and it's an arena style seating. So in the corners, you know, we'll kind of circle the entire court, and the two exit doors will be required means of egress for the number of people that can go into the arena area. And this is sort of the feel of the lobby space. And again, you can see all of the trophy cabinets and you know, the various different photographs. We'll be able to have some branding opportunities and get images of current athletes, student athletes, and even some, as I mentioned, some of the Hall of Fame type images up around the arena as well.
And an all-glass front?
There's a lot of glass on this side and on the east side, just to let it be a light field sort of space. But you know, we want it to be pretty dramatic when you come into the arena. So that's it's a nice blend of very traditional type architectural elements, but some innovative imagery as well. So as I mentioned, if it's okay with you guys, we'd ask for approval to proceed ahead with design development drawings and contract documents.
And Madam Chair, the reason that we're bringing this to you is you really haven't approved the schematics yet. We really want to make sure that we capture what you guys and what the community wants with this. You've seen renderings of it before, and you wanted us to go back and kind of do a little bit more work on it. So we're pretty far along, and we're doing that because there was a request for us to research the possibility of getting this open in time to maybe allow some teams to practice whenever they come to town for the ACC tournament. So
NCAA.
NCAA tournament.
Yeah, Don, there's more than ACC.
You're on the right track with the team.
Even one in North Carolina boys. There's nothing but ACC.
But anyway, Kevin and I got together, we looked at financially whether or not we felt we could pull this off, and we are going to have to do some things that we had not planned on doing a little bit earlier. But we can make this happen if this is the desires of the board. If you will turn these guys loose to get started on it, so we can get this thing presented to OSF and get the comments back.
Madam Chair, I make a motion that we approve the schematic design and ask them to move forward as expeditiously as possible so this arena will be ready for the NCAA tournament.
Second.
Got a second by Cindy, Ms. Brown.
Another question. But this is just like schematics. Y'all still are going to be working like with like the school design people and doing stuff right, because I mean, like, maybe it's just a picture, but it didn't look like much more bleachers than the
It's 8 high. I thought it was 8 high.
I mean, if you go back to that picture, I don't like that picture.
Yeah, quickly.
Yeah,
It is
so
a
me and I both were looking at that.
being in the round, the seating capacity of that layout is 1,500.
But with
It's
that
only
size
8 high.
building, that's not going to look in proportion. It's only 8 high and it wall.
Is that like Hartsville?
It's like Hartsville.
But Hartsville is huge. It's about 15 or 20 high.
No, Hartsville.
It's similar in concept to Hartsville.
But bleachers are.
Yeah. We'll look at that again.
Yeah, I would just ask that, I don't want to go forward, but.
So you kind of like the more
That would
It
odd
looks
to me.
cute, like the bleachers look really like.
You know, sometimes with creating these perspectives, you don't get a true picture.
It might have been a bad picture, but I.
See bleachers at the school, you go up A, it's considerably higher than what this looks.
Right.
I see the people standing there on the floor is slightly higher than head height.
And then my only other question is, I know that like, and maybe Todd, you have it on one side or the other, but like, one thing I liked about your design with the airport arena
Right.
is that the home side actually can kind of come in, almost all of the home side fans can come in from the top and filter down so that you're not having to walk around. I've been doing it for years, walking around on a basketball court, people are trying to throw basketballs around, so I didn't know if there's any way to, and I want this project to be ready, so don't let it delay it, but you see what I'm saying? If there's some way to come in on at least one side where you're coming in higher, so everybody's not walking around on basketballs while they're going walk around.
Well, at airport, you know, the topography kind of lends itself to entering up high and going down the hill. At BC, it's pretty flat, so we don't have the same opportunity without forcing it. So, I mean, if that's something we want to explore, we could do that, but it would be artificially created.
Cost.
There would be some cost associated.
But the entrance to each side could be down a hallway and in on the north end as well as on the south end.
So we have it separated where the visitors never have to cross with the home team. So the visitors come in one side and go to their bench. Home team would come from this side and go to their bench. So, and then, you know, with some administrative help, you know, you could force all of the fans to come out these two doors. So in theory, teams never have to cross and fans never have to cross with either team. So that's the thought process.
Just when you bring us the real deal, can you bring us some real live pictures of whatever Ms. Kessler's talking about, just so I don't feel more comfortable about the scale? Because the A with the big wall looks kind of scary to me.
And you enter on the court level over there.
But we trust your judgment. I got a little nervous when I saw these bleachers.
Well, one option could be, and I just throw this out, realizing that I could be crucified for this, but one option could be to make the bleachers higher on the sides and leave the ends for future development. If you wanted to make it larger later, then you could kind of grow with the times. So that may be something that you want to consider, just to get them higher and then give you the ability to add more seating as the school might grow in size.
I think just maybe the design team, that y'all can talk about that or whatever.
Okay.
Spend your summer.
All right, I have a motion and I have a second. Any more discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries.
Great, thank you very much.
Madam Chair, the next item on there is the naming of the elementary school. And I think we have with us, Mr. Sims has put together a committee. Mr. Sims, you want to talk a little bit about the process that y'all used, or let's talk about that?
We have elected a parent and a teacher to speak for us, and they can go through the entire process, so they're going to come up. We have Melanie Yoder, who teaches 4th grade at Pineview, and Tommy Tilden, who is SIC chair at BC #1, and the rest of the committee's here as well, so we'll let them talk first, and if you have questions, we'll be glad to answer.
Good evening, how are y'all? I'm Melanie Yoder and I teach 4th grade at Pineview. This is
Thomas Hilton. He's a parent at BC Grammar. I would like to first introduce our committee. We've got David Sims, principal at Pineview, Tara McCarty, PTA president at Pineview, Andrew Price, PE teacher at BC Grammar. We've got Catherine Metz, reading interventionist at BC Grammar, and Diane Simon, which was a second grade teacher at Pineview. She couldn't be here tonight. So I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Hilton now, and he's going to present to you the 3 choices that we've come up with.
Hey, pleasure to be here today. Thank you for having us. We were charged with coming up with the names for a school name, mascot, and the colors for the school. We tried to do historical significance about the West Columbia area, anything we could think of animals in the area, original ideas. And we came up with several dozen for each one, and we cut it down to 5 names, 5 mascots, and 5 color schemes. And after that, we got through and online presentation that we put on our Lexington School websites on BC #1 and at the Pineview Elementary School. We got retweeted out by West Columbia. We passed the word all along. Mr. Principal Chris Dickey and the principal for Pineview, Mr. David Sims, put out phone calls to all the parents to encourage them to look at the website. We encouraged people to come on the open house meeting, and we spoke to them about that. And we got a total of 1,538 votes for the voting for each one. We came up with the top 3 that we were going to present to y'all, so we're going to give you some many because we were charged with 3. Here we are right here. The #1 name that we came up with was the Riverbanks Elementary, #2 Brooklyn Elementary, #3 Sunset Elementary, and the percentages for each one. The Riverbanks had the largest by far, which is at 45.1%, and then Brooklyn Elementary 22.3 and 12.4 for the Sunset Elementary. As we go down to the school mascot, we bounced around a lot of stuff for mascot. I truly think it was the hardest thing because we were coming up with anything you could think of. We broke it down to rapids, blazers, catfish, sea turtles, and bearcats. And that was out of a lot of going back and forth. We only spent 2 or 3 hours on one meeting. About 2 or 3 hours total on a meeting just talking about that right there. But we got down to sea turtles. For whatever reason, that's the one my kids like the most too. I said to them, I think, which one do y'all like? Oh, we like sea turtles. I was like, all right, well, that's what's up. And then #2 was the rapids, and #3 was the bearcats to keep it something traditional. We tried a lot of times when we were doing this, we tried to roll something off. Like you see, we have the blazers on there. We came up maybe a lighthouse for that. That was the 5th choice, but it didn't make the top 3, but it was a lot of alliteration, like with the sunset, like sunset sea turtles or Riverbanks rapids. We try to find things. I know y'all can ultimately pick what we do, but we try to have things that would somewhat maybe match together. And the same things with the school choices, with the colors. And the top 3 were teal and white, the #1, navy and sky blue were #2, and maroon and black were #3, is keeping with the traditional of what a BC #1 was. I guess a lot of people, voted for their opinion for the history of what was already there. And we did a lot of, like I said, historical significance, and we turned it over a lot of the parents for the survey. We went into it, and we did the best we could to try to find something that everybody would like. We came up with the 3 choices, and open up to any kind of questions y'all ask how you did it. Anything that y'all would like us to be stricken from the record, or if y'all like the other top 5 that we came up with, or would like to ask if anything else that we came with that didn't make the list.
Does the committee have a recommendation?
Do we have a recommendation? I know a couple of the recommendations were for the Brooklyn Sea Turtles, because the acronym comes out as BEST, B-E-S-T. So that was one of the things that Mr. Price came up with right there. That was his idea. A lot of people like the Riverbanks Rapids, because the alliteration where it just kind of flows off. We'd have to kind of, a little bit of a difficult time trying to figure out what we have the symbol for the rapids, but we could figure it out by some kind of wave or some kind of, somebody can kayak, or we can figure something out. Which was the other one? The Brooklyn Bearcats, which is something, because it's got the affiliation with the high school, but it's very traditional. Like it's almost exactly what is over there now. And I don't know if the Pineview parents would, how they would think about that, but, you know, it's what voted and got into the top 3. And,
Our committee didn't really pick one that we really liked. We just wanted to present to you guys the 3 choices for each that we felt were
Yes,
strong throughout everybody.
like, I know certain people I talked to like the Sunset Sea Turtles just because of the way it sounded, even though it kind of might be a little odd, but a lot of the logos don't match up with what the schools are anyway with the area. So it's just, whatever would be fun for the kids, we can make a good logo, good learning environment, something that would, you know, make, you know, like a positive environment, because this symbol's going to be everywhere. You know, it's going to be when you walk into school, it's going to be on the sign, it's going to be on the t-shirts, it's going to be everywhere you look. So you want it to be something where the kids just, they're going to like it. You know, the community's going to like it, and, you know, somebody's, you know, settle on something everybody's going to be happy with. So any kind of.
I guess one question.
Yes, sir.
On the mascot, since, and I know you've got Bearcats on the list, but since all of our, both those elementary schools and the middle school and the high school are all cats, did y'all look at other potential cat names?
We had the Wildcats on there, but it was just, that's Lexington, and it's all over there, and it's also the most used name that's out there. Tiger is the number 2 most used name that's out there. So we just, the only one we kept was the Bearcats because it was affiliated with the high school.
We first started off by looking at like top 10 mascots, and so then we went through the list, and most of our surrounding schools already had a lot of those taken. And so we tried to bounce around some local ones and some, you know, the Bearcats. We looked at Cougars because Northside's right there, but TC Grammar, some of it feeds into Busby, and so we felt uncomfortable putting Cougars as a choice when we knew some of those students were being going to Busby instead of Northside.
Yes, ma'am. I had something out there that I presented to, just that's kind of like my idea here. My daughter goes to BC, I have 2 kids at BC #1, and a daughter at BC High School, and she's one of the top artists they have there at the school over there. And I was wondering if all possible, when we did pick a logo or a mascot, if she could draw it up, or whatever it was. I mean, I'd have her draw maybe 5, 6 different things, or however you wanted, or different renderings of different, you know, whatever we ended up picking, whether it was rabbits, sea turtles, Bearcats, or something different, I'll come up with it. She could draw like an original sketch, so it would come from somebody within the district. And if y'all didn't like it, we just throw it out. It was just something. She actually came up with an idea and said, I'd love to do it. I'm open to any questions. I'll talk all day.
So, Melanie, was it Melanie or was it you? Go back to the, was there a lot of like with, because that vest really kind of be neat on t-shirts and.
That was really something we just discussed in our committee. We didn't really share it, you know, with everyone else.
We didn't share that out with everybody else, like she was saying, like we did the phone calls and we had the surveys online that we got the 1,538 responses from, because we didn't want to influence their choice process. We wanted to be open to them, like have a fresh slate, and they pick what they wanted to say, you know, have their own voice. We didn't want to influence their decision, but we thought it was pretty neat.
I do too.
One other question, just from a legal standpoint, is there any trademark on riverbanks that we are aware of?
That's something I said too. I had looked, we as a group had discussed that. If there was any
I really like
conflict
that
of
name. It's
interest.
just very unique. It's fun. I think kids will like it. And obviously, you know.
I wondered if you could even separate it, you know, like the river and the banks. Yeah, 2 words, because we are close to the river, so we are the banks of the river in that way.
I mean, obviously, it'd be awesome to try to partner with them and build on that. I just didn't know if that was a trademark issue.
I was like, we can have some affiliations too. They got to listen for free whenever we come.
Questions, anything, suggestion, Dr. James?
I like the best thing. Before we would vote up Riverbank, Tennessee, I'd probably check out.
Madam Chair, you asked for a suggestion. I think that's one of the things we find out if there is any sort of infringement if we use the name Riverbanks, and if it could be separated. You got almost 50% of the folks that responded liking that name. Since we've got that, my suggestion would be to let me talk with Mr. Sims, and let's try to narrow this a little bit more for the board and give you all the name of mascot and stuff back.
Yeah, and Brad, I appreciate this. I mean, y'all have done an amazing
Yeah,
job.
it's great.
I went on your thing and read it. My dad did not went on any of the categories. But anyway, it is important to me that I noticed the faculty, I mean, because obviously there's not as many of you as there is of the community, the whole, all of everything. I really would like to kind of, Dr. Jones gets a little bit more input on where the teachers, because we kind of went with that decision with the KC people. I really want to know, y'all are the educational leaders for your school. You know what you can do with the name, you know what you can do with the mascot, you know what you're going to be teaching your kids. I really, now that you've got this information, I'd like to see you take it back to both faculties, share it with both faculties, and potentially they would be the faculties to make the top 2 recommendations maybe or something. That'd just be a suggestion.
Wouldn't be bad.
It's important to
Yeah,
me
find
that
out
y'all
what theirs are.
We'll have a recommendation
Okay.
at the next meeting.
All right.
I know a lot of the faculty have voted, but it's like, you know, when you look at the vote, the faculty is going to be a smaller percentage because it's less of a population. And that sounds great, what y'all saying.
All right, well, thank y'all so much.
Yes, ma'am. Thank y'all for having us.
Thank you.
And Madam Chair, next on the agenda would be the same type thing with the Kids Center. I have Mr. Tony Coleman and Mr. Kenny Shumpert to come up and make their presentations.
Madam Chairman, members, Dr. James, we want to thank you for this opportunity to be here. We are super excited about the Cake Center. We are super excited about finally putting a name with our center to kind of talk about our identity. I'll let Mr. Shumpert kind of walk you through our process.
I really don't know how I ended up here using them very public with guys on Thursday night. Sometimes it's cold when I'm here, I got bad news, I don't have any color charts, but I'm Mr. C, sure, you got something in there, you can throw it in the chart. Just throw it around. Ms. Coleman asked me back in the spring would I be on this committee, and it didn't take me no time to answer yes, because just a little history, I am an 82 graduate of Airport High School. One of my favorite teachers of all time, Ms. Case Kessel, right here, so it's an honor to be standing here in front of all of you, but her especially. Teaching this district, my wife taught here. I've got 2 children that have graduated from Airport High School, one graduated from the University of South Carolina. I got a daughter that I think is a junior at Airport, I think that's what she is, a junior. And I've got an 8th grader at Full. So, totally invested in this district, and when Ms. Coleman asked me, this means a lot to me, and not only me, to our committee members. So just to give you a little bit of that. Well, anyway, we met numerous times. Of course, when we first met, we come up with, and I think Ms. Coleman got cramped for all the names we were throwing out there and writing. And of course, the process then for us would be to eliminate names. And we started that process. I think we met 4 or 5 times. Unfortunately, for me, one of the meetings, I was on vacation, wasn't able to be there. Ms. Coleman kept me informed of what was going on. Of course, when I come back to the next meeting, I realized how much that's all mine. The names, because none of them were on there. I'm like, shit, I said, wait a second, but that's all right. I like what they had. So anyway, we talked about it, and the thing that was important to me, and that was important to the committee members, was Lexington 2 in this career center. That was the important thing, and ironically, about that time, the district tweeted out the new Lex 2 logo and the birthday cake and all that. I saw all of that, and I'm like, man, that's just what we were talking about. And for us, you know, we have 2 names that we put there. We threw a 3rd out there just for you to look at. We have our recommendations, but anyway, when we were looking at all the names that we had, Lexington 2 was what we all wanted in the name. It didn't matter whether we put add-ons to it. We wanted Lexington 2 because myself, who has been born and raised in this district, I feel like sometimes we got short end of the stick. And I am so proud of what we're doing and what we're accomplishing. And the same with the other committee members as well. We had members from Nepal Women to tell you, from SCANA, and we had cake teachers that were on this committee. I apologize for not sharing that with you earlier. But it was important that we have that And because this district does mean a lot to all of us. And we wanted to see when someone wrote by that that building was not just some crazy name and not this or that, it was Lexington 2. And that was very important to us. So we decided on the colors. We took a color from Airport and Brooklyn Casey's, and we came with black and silver were the colors that we came up with. And I will say this, that Ms. Coleman we sent documents out to other CAPE members at both schools to get their input on it, to get their opinions, and everybody was okay with basically what we had decided. We decided that the logo will be determined later. Maybe that's some graphic design person go in there and come up with something for that. The names that we chose and the name that we recommended as a committee and as a CAPE department was Lexington 2, or Lex 2, Innovation Center. That was our first choice that we come to. Lexington 2 Innovation Center, because we think this thing's going to be a great thing, and there's going to be a lot of innovation going on there. So that was our first choice. Our second choice that we will also present to you that you could consider was Lexington 2 Center for Advanced Technology Education. A little longer. We really wanted it simple. We wanted it to the point and simple. And so that's kind of with our names, but we did go with Lexington 2 Center for Advanced Technology Education, which logo would be Lex 2 within CAPE by it. The other one would be Lex 2 IC or L2IC, little things. And then, of course, Ms. Coleman may hit on this, some of our outside or our business people thought the area is called Atari Point. It's near Congaree Creek. It's near the Congaree River. So we put one on there for you to look at, where maybe Lexington 2 Center for Innovation at Atari Point. Me personally, if you want to add something on to it, you put Lexington Career Center or Lexington 2 Innovation Center between Casey Elementary and Busby Middle. That little winky didn't matter. We wanted Lex 2.
I remember from Scanner, felt like with the momentum that that area at Tarleton is picking up, that it was, she felt like that was not a terrible choice. So with that on there, just because of her input. But, again, like Ken says, we wanted a Lexington 2 thing, not necessarily a Tarleton.
And that was our go at it. Thoroughly enjoyed meeting with Ms. Coleman and other committee members. So if you have any questions or something you would like, Ms. Coleman, you lay down.
I do have a question. Unlike you, I think the brevity of the title is really good. And I don't know, is innovation a new technology name? Because when people drive by and they say Innovation Center, I'm thinking, are they going to realize that that is our technology center?
I think so, yes, ma'am. Our vision is that there's a lot more going on in that building besides just our traditional CAPE courses. We didn't want to kind of pigeonhole ourselves into a traditional trade, vocational type school, because we're going to have some of those college level science classes. We'll have some dual enrollment things going on. So we just kind of want to expand that and not limit ourselves in true CAPE courses, should that make sense.
Ms. Brown?
I'll make a motion to approve, because you said the teachers, y'all, staff pick the flag.
Yes.
I make a motion to approve the colors and the number one choice for the logo to be determined.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Next, we have consideration of requests for out-of-state or overnight student travel. Just stay right there, Ms. Brown.
Motion to approve overnight out-of-state student travel, but I was really going to walk halfway.
Second.
Second by Mr. Bingham. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. 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 Motion carries.
Madam Chair, before we leave this, I see that Mr. Season brought a color chart. I'm not sure what this is for, so you want to talk a little bit about this color chart?
So fitting in with the presentation that Mr. Shumpert and Ms. Coleman just did, we brought the colors along for the new Innovation Center, Lexington 2 Innovation Center. So you can see that we've used some of the dark grays and silver colors, but we also have a little splash of the innovative color of the green and the blues. Very, very subtle in some of the carpet and accent in the terrazzo. So we'll continue to work with Joni and her group, and I'll share these with you guys, but I think it fits in nicely with what we're trying to do. And again, the green and the blues will be limited, almost like this piece of carpet in my right hand. You can see how much green is in that. It's very subtle and it's very little, but it gives it a little bit of that splash, the global new Lexington 2 logo, and that whole innovation concept we think would fit nicely.
Mr. C, is it possible to get this terrazzo in that gray, black, whatever, without the mirror flexing?
It is, yes.
I enjoyed my tour, and thank you so much, Mr. Don, of Casey Elementary, but I was concerned about the mirror flexing floors.
Okay. Those are mirror chips that are added to the aggregate. We certainly can, so we can admit that.
Question?
What's the concern? I understand, I missed the tour.
It's that for that school, that would get the silver. So does the top itself, on the silver.
Yeah, you can see when I kind of rotate that, the light reflects off of it. There's a little splash of light silver.
That's fine. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Thank y'all.
Next item is administrative divisional reports. First item is superintendent report, and that's preparing for advanced ed. I'll turn that over to Dr. James.
Yes, ma'am. This is going to segue into Dr. Hayward Evans. I sent you all some information back there about effective board governments and the observation that I'm sure most of you as board members have been through advanced ed. Coming into the district, one of the things that they will look at is board government. Part of that is they have a rubric. Excuse me. They have a rubric that goes along with their monitoring of the board. They will come to visit board meetings unannounced. They may come to more than one board meeting, but at least one, have to be here for at least an hour, review board minutes. You can look in the back of your packet, and the rubric has not changed very much for you folks who have been on the board in the past. But one of the things that we wanted to make sure that the board understood is in the accreditation process, the board is an extremely important piece of the district because the board sets the culture of the district. And there is an evaluation instrument that Don said something about not having control of fire lanes where we don't have much control over advanced ed. But you do have the rubric there. Marcella's going to go through a lot of this step by step. We'll be more than glad to go with you. I don't want to read to you, but we'll be more than glad to go through this. If you just want to look at it, or if you're a board member that hasn't gone through advanced ed before, we're walking through every step of this. But this is a vitally important piece, and it could be any time between now and the day they come that they attend the board meeting or meeting. So with that, I'm going to let Marcella give you a little bit about where we are in this overall process.
Yes, sir. Madam Chair, members of the board, Dr. James, thank you for allowing us to give you a brief presentation of where we are in our advanced ed journey. So this was not our slide. This actually came from the advanced ed leader at that time, Dr. Darrell Barringer, who's since moved on to bigger and better things with advanced ed. But when he presented to us, this was the first slide we saw. It said, "Welcome guinea pigs." Every few years, Advanced Ed does a cyclical review, and they update their processes. And so we are fortunate, or not fortunate, to be in the cycle where they are going through an update this particular season. So we will be one of the first school districts to be reviewed under the new processes, which will include this board review. So we wanted to provide to you just a piece of our journey as a reminder of where we have been up until this point in time. As you're aware, we have revisited our vision, our mission, our beliefs, and our goals. Here's some artifacts to document that we did receive community input. This is an agenda from our Superintendent Parent Council that to the right, when I'm looking at the right, you'll see where it says click here for Advanced Ed Parent Survey. We did try to seek input from our community via Facebook, Twitter, on our website, and at the bottom you'll see our administrators engaged in working on our vision, mission, beliefs, and goals. To that end, we did decide as a community of stakeholders that we would revise our mission statement, our vision statement, our belief statements, etc. As you're aware, board approval is needed for our strategic plan, which we submitted to the State Department in April, and you all approved or gave final approval in March. You will see that we received feedback sometime in July, Dr. James and myself, and we did meet all criteria, and that's the feedback we received from the State Department. We don't have any not met, so that's a good thing. We have engaged our administrative staff in training. Again, Dr. Barringer did come out and train all of our administrators. March 23rd, we actually joined forces with Lexington 4 because they will also be going through the process as well. I was able to conduct a follow-up training with administrators on June the 8th. We provided to administration a checklist, kind of a timeline to keep us on track, so we all don't wait until January to do everything at the last minute. So you don't have the actual dates on the document that is projected here, but it will tell you in September you need to do this, in November we need to do this, in January we need to do this, just to keep all of us organized and checks and balances and for fidelity purposes as well. So that brings us to now, and the discussion we're going to have tonight. In your packet, as Dr. James has referenced, you have the Advanced Ed standards. There are 31 system standards, which we will be reviewed upon, and there are 30 school standards, because the schools will also receive reviews as well. There are 3 domains, and this is new to the process. There's leadership, learning, and resources. What we're going to focus on this evening is the leadership domain. In particular, in your packet, you will see in the standard 1.4 and 1.5, there's a reference to the governing authority. That's on pages 4 and 5. Anytime as you engage in this pleasure reading where you see governing authority, that is the Board of Trustees. So we would ask that you would pay close attention to that verbiage and what that particular domain and standard speaks to. Additional resources you have are the Effective Board Governance Observation Tool and Rubric, and as Dr. James mentioned, this is new. Now, when we were trained in March, we were informed at that time that the School Board Association was supposed to put together a series of trainings as well. We have not been made abreast of those training opportunities, but as soon as that happens, we will certainly send that information out as well. So just as a friendly reminder, we actually sent you all the strategic plan back in the spring. But in case you cannot locate it in your series of emails, you can always access our district strategic plan from our website. And we have put this slide here so that you can find out where you can go to access the strategic plan. It's on the Lexington webpage. If not, we will resend to you the shortened version of our goals and our action steps. If you don't want to read the whole entire 100-page document, here's a snapshot in 1 or 2 pages for you, because they will consistently ask us about our vision, our mission, our goals. And so we need to be able to articulate what it is we're doing. Also, which is very important for me to highlight, and I'll talk about this when I get to the rubric, a lot of what they want to know is The work of Lexington School District 2, the board and the school and the administration, school superintendent and administration, is it grounded in the vision? Where do you want to go in Lexington School District 2? So all the work that we do in Lexington School District 2 should always be anchored in our strategic plan and grounded with our vision. Also, Mr. Burgraff put together kind of I call it a cheat sheet for Marcella, the big ideas from our strategic plan. What are the things that we're working on in 2017 and 18? What are the things that we're working on in 18, 19, so forth and so on for the next 5 years? This is just a letter that Dr. James received announcing that, welcome aboard, you're going to be going through this process this particular year. Some more information here. You have this document in your packet, and it talks about who will use the diagnostic. The lead evaluator can come to our meetings, or he or she can assign someone. At this point in time, we have not been made aware of who our lead evaluator is. Additionally, as Dr. Jane mentioned, it could be via a live board meeting. They could go and look at our website and pick up a recorded board meeting. They will review our minutes or anything that we stream. They could come one time, anytime between now and our engagement review, or 30 days before our engagement review, or several times. They will stay for at least an hour if they do decide to come, or if they watch, they'll have to watch for at least an hour. This information will not be used in our final score, but it will be used to guide the engagement review discussions. Finally, you have access to the rubric itself on how we will be assessed. That is the rating guide. And then this is the rubric, it's the observation tool. I want to bring your attention tonight to the observation skills checklist numbers 9, 15, 16, and 22, because all of those statements speak to the vision. And each month we'll do a little bit, dissect a little bit of it, but I just wanted to make you aware again that they're saying that everything that we do should be anchored or grounded with our strategic plan and our vision. So I wanted to bring those few statements, or lift those few statements for you tonight from our strategic plan, from the observation tool. Okay. I know that was a quick down and dirty, and we'll dissect a little bit every month, but we did want to make you aware of the processes that we have been aware of at this point in time. And I will try to entertain any questions, but I will share with you that Dr. Barringer shared with us that we are building the plane and flying it at the same time. So I will try to answer questions, but if I don't have the answers, we will have to seek those answers because the process is so very new. Any questions?
When is the date of our review?
We are the first week in March. They will come in Sunday evening and they will exit on Wednesday with a final exit board meeting. Before I conclude, we do have a few new folks in our area that we would like to introduce who are with us tonight, with your permission.
Absolutely.
Okay. We would like for Miss Kathy Jones-Stork to stand to be recognized. She's our new coordinator for ELA and social studies. We stole her from the State Department. You've seen them on TV, both of them. Mary Page Dom, Mary Page Dom, and Stephen Satuski, principal and assistant principal at Northside Middle School. And I don't think Vanessa Burgos Kelly is here, but she's our new assistant principal at Casey Elementary. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, the next is instruction, which we have no further report. Next is finance.
Yes, thank you. I have for you the very, very preliminary unaudited financials from June. I make that statement. We're really early into closing out the fiscal year from 2016-2017. But I will be happy to answer any questions you may have at this point on First, revenue. Revenue has come in 1.62% more than we had budgeted, which is a good thing,
So as I read it right down, it would show that we're positive fund balance about $4 million.
I knew you were going to say that. Yes, that is, we're still accruing both revenue and expenditures, so don't get too hung up on that number. But that is what we're seeing right now, as the date we ran this, which was a week or so ago last week. But yes, we will end up still in the positive though. So.
That's always a good thing.
Right, that's the goal. If no other questions on revenue, we have expenditures. Again, they're still coming in a little under. We're not finished accruing. We still also get invoices from other districts for any proviso students we may have, and those are just now being billed out. Those are never huge amounts of money, but we are still getting final invoices in, so we will have some accruals coming back. If no questions on expenditures, the next is the referendum expenditures. To date, again, very preliminary. Although this is probably more closer to, since most of the contractors bill on a monthly basis, it's easier to get these out. But we did receive the check back from Casey for the demolition of the hotel. So that's reflected here. It's $227,000 on the demolition. So we received that back, which less than that expenditure. So I'm happy to answer any questions. If not, I wanted to update you on one other thing. I know you've asked a couple of times. We talked about when we're going to issue the last $100 billion of the $225 billion. We've had the plan for repayment to that $100 billion to start in tax year 2019, which would be fiscal year 18-19. Rates are really good right now. I thought Don was going to steal my thunder in telling this, but we have been, we've been talking about how we can do this now and early while rates are good, while we're going to be needing the money. So I've been working with our Ray Jones, our bond attorney with Parker Poe, and Mike Gallagher with Compass, our financial advisor, just to try to work through what can we do. So we're going to go ahead and issue in September the $100 million. It'll close in October, and then because rates are so good right now, and there's a lot of premium that other districts have been getting on their $100 million, around about $100 million issues, that we could use part of those premiums to make that very first interest payment that we had not planned on at the beginning. So that's very good news. We're also going to build in an investment agreement in there so that we can hopefully invest it in a rate that's a little higher than the local government investment pool, which right now is earning about 1.08%, which is still higher than most anybody else. If we did that, we'd hope to get more closer to 1.6, 1.75, and that's as of what rates are right now. So that's kind of the plan. That's where we're moving forward to issue that in September. So. That's all I have. Thank you.
Any questions? All right, if no objection, the monthly financial reports will stand approved as submitted. All right, next we go to administration and student services, and we have a construction update from Mr. Eisenhower.
Once again, Madam Chair, members of the board, Dr. James, if you will allow me, I'd like to introduce a couple of folks that are new under my umbrella. And we have Mr. Bill McPherson, who is the Director of Operations. If you've been looking around our campus, you may have noticed some subtle differences, and even if you looked at this campus when you've driven in the last few times, you will have seen that our gate no longer looks like our gate. Our building has been pressure washed, especially along the front. Sidewalks have been pressure washed. Some of the we had an old dead tree that had vines growing up through it. It's gone. We had an old cedar tree that was growing behind one of the curbs. It's gone. So if you midnight maintenance. You will see that a lot of change has taken place there as well. He's put up a new fence. I can go on and on and on with the things that Mr. McPherson has already done. Mr. McPherson, he and his employees, I won't give him all the credit. Obviously, he'd like to take it, I'm sure, since he's a new employee. Seriously, he came to us by way of Spartanburg 3. Contrary to what some people may think, neither Dr. James or I really knew him prior to his arrival, prior to us interviewing him, but he has really been a great addition to our team, and we're looking forward to working with Mr. McPherson for years to come. So, welcome, Mr. McPherson.
Thank you.
Also, Mr. Howard Kugler comes to us from the Office of School Facilities. Mr. Kugler is a retired Navy man, has been working and has been working with Office of School Facilities now for several years, 20 plus years, I think. And we obviously are going to benefit tremendously from his inspection mode, I guess, and his ability to look at plans prior to us releasing bid documents. I can tell you his first day on the job, I took him to Congaree Elementary for an inspection. I had to throw a lasso on him and pull him back because he was right there in with the Office of School Facilities inspector inspecting with him. What about this guys and what about that guys? And so he's very energetic and takes his job very seriously. And once we kind of get him into understanding that we have a budget and that we're no longer in the Office of School Facilities just demanding all of these things that we do, and somebody has to pay for all of this stuff, he's going to be a tremendous addition to our team as well. So we're happy to welcome Mr. Kugler with us as well. And I do want to make one correction to the construction update that you have. It's under Airport High School. I indicated in here that you approved the track, but you really didn't. What you approved is the alternating blue and gray lines, which was rendering 2. And that's the option that the school wanted, and you went through a lot of questioning with the school on this before approving of that. So I want to make sure that that gets corrected. I will say it's been a very busy summer. We've been keeping up with about 20 projects. And it has been very trying. But I think that overall, things have turned out very well. Construction pushed us right up until the last minute on getting buildings cleaned. I'll have to compliment the vendor as well. They came in, worked weekends and night, and tried to help us get these schools ready to open up for students. And I will say that we didn't get it all done as far as waxing the floors, and for the first day of school, they came in and worked again at night and got it done as quickly as possible. So we have to entertain any questions that you might have about the construction update that we gave you.
Any questions?
I'd like to thank Mr. Eisenhower for taking his time this week to provide 2 days for the opportunity before we go through that building. It was very interesting and very innovative ideas, and I think it was some color scheme, but thank you very much, Mr. Eisenhower. Appreciate it very much.
Thank you, sir. Next, we have enrollment and limited school choice update, and that will be by our Chief Administrative Officer, Mr. Henry.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board. Ms. Coleman's helping me out. I've got 2 packets for you. The first packet is an enrollment packet, and it's got the numbers from every school from today. As you know, it's been a tradition in Lexington to take enrollment every day for the first 10 days to give us a good idea of how many kids we will have and make any changes that we need to make during the first days of school. If you will, see the first packet of PC Graham on the front. If you just go to the back page, you can get an overall look of where we are. And you see what the enrollments are at each individual school. And you see where our total is. I always feel better when we're at 88 to 89. But I have to keep reminding myself that we're not serving half-day child development anymore, we're serving whole day, so that cuts the numbers down a little bit. So I think we're pretty much on schedule. We're up in some places. We're sort of standardized where we thought we would be. We're down in some places, and I have to give the prize to Dr. McCleary. He's increasing the enrollment at Casey Elementary School on his own. I think he's got a sign on I-77 saying, "Get off at this exit and come to school." You see at BC Grammar, second grade, we have frozen that, and the students will be going to other schools if we have additional coming, so we won't get up above that 25 to 1. Congaree Elementary, you'll see at third grade, I've got a 6 and then a 5 in parentheses. The numbers today are 6 teachers at 16.7 to 1. We're going to move one of those teachers to Casey Elementary School because of their numbers in their 4th grade. So their new ratio will be 20 to 1. So that teacher was going to be reflected when we look at Casey. I don't know how Congaree Wood does it every year. 10 days before school starts, they've got like 112 kindergartners, and they always come up with those 200 plus kindergarten kids. So those ladies in the office have been typing a lot and entering a lot of kids into Power School. And you can see where they are as far as their numbers and their ratios. They have 6 classes of all day. That can go to 120, so we're still about 6 kids short there, and we're going through the wait list now and getting kids in there. So those numbers will go up at the 4-year-old, and you can see where we are. And I can tell you that they're not at the point in time that they're stable. They're still enrolling kids every day in kindergarten and 1st grade. So I think that school will continue to get bigger. If you go over Casey, they're too shy of 1,000, and this report came in at 9:30 this morning, before 9:30, so I am sure they have enrolled more children. We're going to move a kindergarten teacher from Saluda River to Casey. Today they were at 29 to 1. If we add a teacher, they'll be at 24 to 1. That's still high. That's a lot of kids. And if you look at 4th grade, we're adding that teacher from Congaree Elementary there. So it takes them from 26 to 22 to 1. We're filling the new school up. Pineview Elementary, they've not been there, they're not, usually they're a little bit higher than this, but we still have kids registering there too. Their kindergarten small, and I can tell you every few years Pineview has a smaller kindergarten class. So, and when you go and take a teacher from the following year, they have 120 like that. So this is sort of a pattern, but it's not predictable. So their number still is 626. They're still, besides Casey, the second largest elementary school in our district. Saluda River, you see where we've taken the teacher in kindergarten. We said about 360, 370 is what we were looking for. They're down just a little bit. But again, this afternoon I was working with the guidance counselor, and we're enrolling 4 more kids at that school. So it's coming in. Springdale. And it may just be something, their kindergarten's a little small. Usually, remember, we go to 75 and then we have to freeze it. This is the first time we haven't frozen kindergarten in Springdale in a while. So it's just, we have those type of years where we don't have as many in K-5. You can see that their numbers are pretty good there all the way across. And that helps when you have to make a move, like Saluda River and Springdale having to make moves to other facilities, not to have those classes of 25 hanging out there. But they're coming up 471 because we predicted them at 450, so they're ahead of what we're predicting right now. With elementary, they're right around that 500 mark every time, and their numbers are good. And they're still adding kids in. At Busby, Dr. Rhodes is going to find 5 more kids so we get 400. We're gonna change Cecil's sign to Dr. Brooks' sign, saying come and register at Busby on 977, but that's a high number for us. And they're still enrolling kids. Full middle school. And I'm gonna say this for all of our middle schools, 8th grade's a little down, and I can't for the life of me understand why, but there is an 8th grade across the district, maybe not so much at Pine Ridge, but the other three, we've got this, if you added, they got 158 at Coomer, usually they have about 180. So if you add those in, that would put maybe Miss Guerrero's school right above 600 where they normally are. But they are enrolling kids at 590, so they're almost at their mark. Northside Middle School, they keep enrolling every day and their numbers are increasing. Good solid enrollment there. Pine Ridge Middle School, they're a little above what we thought would be. They're always in the 430, 435 rate. So they're at 450 and they're still enrolling too. So we're only halfway through this enrollment process. And our two high schools, Airport, 1351, BC, 1033, that's right where we predicted they would be. That's pretty much what we've said the whole we've had for the last several years. But I'm gonna tell you that this number is not solid yet. Frank Governelli taught me that you never get anxious about high school numbers because we're getting records in. Kids move from a sophomore to a junior or said they were juniors and then we get their transcript in and they go back to being a sophomore because of the credits they had earned or not earned. And summer school credits are still coming in. So if you had seen day one and we started early, I was needing oxygen because we were in the low 7,000s. But this is the first year we've started the first day that I can remember when other districts didn't start. Tuesday, when we got back from the eclipse, that's when our enrollments really started normalizing out for us. So we're at 8763. We have 5 more days of this. I predict we'll be in the mid 88, 50, not that number, right on the target where we normally are. Any questions about our numbers? The next packet is our choice packet. This year, to make it easier, instead of 2 reports, I did choice on one report. You see a black line going across. Above the black line is the employee choice. Below the black line is the limited school choice and any administrative transfers. I can tell you right up front, we had a lot of kids at the very end before school started, middle of summer. They moved, David Lexington too, but when they went back into, register and get ready for the new school year, they had moved right across the line here or there, and they came to us just really panicked. The other thing you can see out to the side, if it says continue, that kid was already on the roll or coming into the school. It did increase the school's numbers one bit. If this is new, their numbers would go up. That's important. We can't overload grade levels. I do read Mr. Sims won the lottery this year with the numbers he got a page off for himself. You didn't know that, did you, Mr. Sims? No, I did not. He did not, you can see. And Blue River. And you can look pretty much standard where we were all the way across. And you can see back to our 2 high schools. When you look, for example, at Fulmer Middle School, you see continue, it says 6th grade. Those are kids that are in school choice, say coming from Springdale, and they want to continue with the choice so they can be with their classmates. That's what, same thing goes for, say, a kid coming out of Pineview going to 6th grade, they want to go to Northside and follow with it. So they fill out another choice, and we consider that a high priority along with like sibling placements and daycare needs for our families. What we're doing right now in student services is that we are helping families that are in difficult times, trying to get them into school and trying to help them get their paperwork, get records, and things like that. It always reminds me this time of year, Ms. Brown, like that video, why we do what we do. We've got some really neat families coming in, and some of them come from some pretty desperate means. And we're trying to help them because get kids in school, we're going to get them fed and we're going to get them educated and they'll feel safe. So I appreciate Ms. Black being able to come and work with us this year. It did bother me this afternoon, she doesn't know this, but Kevin Smoke came in my office and said, Ms. Black's talking about retirement. So I've had her 3 weeks and she's ready to retire. So we'll try again. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to try to answer anything you might have for me.
Thank you, Mr. Allen. The next item on the agenda is human resources, and I don't have a report. Okay. Next item is executive session, and I'll entertain a motion. Mr. Bingham?
Madam Chair, I make a motion the Board of Trustees enter closed session for consideration of personnel appointments and resignations, discussion of property matters, discussion of contractual matters, and discussion of superintendent's contract.
Motion to have second. Second by Mr. Giles. All in favor, say aye. Aye. We are now in executive